Thank you for staying with Daybreak. The State of the Nation conversation starts right now. We're having a conversation on the police reforms. How far are they? What is your assessment in terms of where we need to go? What more needs to be done? At Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya, use the hashtag Daybreak. Let me start by introducing my guest from my farthest right. Eric Okeyo is here, former chairperson, Kenya Security Industry Association, and former vice chair, Security Regulatory Authority. Thank you for making time. Willis Otieno is here, is a lawyer and also the deputy party leader for Safina. Thank you very much for making time. Gloria Kimani is a council member, LSK. Thank you very much for making time. And Charles Owino, former police spokesperson and head of the National Communication Center. Thank you for making time. Okay, I'll start with you. What is your assessment of the state of police reforms as we speak today?
Good morning, Trevor, and thank you for having me here today. My assessment on the police reforms is it is used as a conduit for just stealing money. The word police reforms is used by those who are in police echelons of power to draw money from the national treasury and just spend the money on things other than reforms. In the past, I've been part of the police reforms working group, and I can tell you the original intention was very good. It was to reform the police from a mindset of even mental stability all the way to welfare. Eventually, that would lead to a very disciplined officer who goes to work with minimal or no stress that then causes them to get into the rage that we now see. By and large, you have a service that has also good officers, but the problem is that the reform is used academically to draw money, but no one goes into the actual reform. What you need to do in the police today is look at mental stability, look at welfare. If you have a person working in Uriri, for example, and his home is Lodwar or his home is Kwale, and his net pay is just under 20,000, he has a family up country, he is bereaved, for example, he has to travel, and he asks for pass off to go, he is denied. That strain gets into the rage that we see. Yeah.
Okay. Willis, what is your assessment?
The first thing that we must say is that the police is now turning to be an enemy of the people and a tool of legacy politicians to undermine our constitution. If you look at our constitution, the Article 239, it sets out the parameters within which the police are supposed to conduct their policing duties. And more importantly, is that you must conduct policing within the purview and in respect to the fundamental rights and freedoms of everybody. What we have today is a police force that the legacy politicians have turned to become their militia, that they are using for purposes of oppressing the very people who voted for them. And I must say this also, even within the institution, what kind of training have legacy politicians subjected the police to? They are subject to a training where the police is an askari that sees his citizen as an enemy to be kept out. So when you go to Kiganjo, the training curriculum focuses more on using force, intimidation, harassment. Then come into this force, into the force itself. No longer serve, it's a force. Come into the force itself. Look at the kind of things that they're told. Don't question Amri. Your duty is to obey Amri. Not knowing that Article 239 has set out the parameters within which they're supposed to operate. And there's something that I must also indicate. You know, just to tell you how bad it is for the policemen. It's the only institution where, when you talk about mental health, their response to mental health is to tell you to go and see a pastor or an imam. They don't have psychologists. I think there's only one psychologist in the entire police service in the whole country. Most policemen, when they need mental health assessments or they need psychological support, you are told to go and see a pastor. That pastor himself is not even trained on psychology. He may even be the one who is in need more of that social support than the patient who is being sent to him. Okay. Look at now, we are now going through these demonstrations. Yeah. When you are deployed out there and you come back, in the presence, maybe your unit, somebody has died or has committed some atrocities, there's even no sit back to assess how are these officers who are deployed mentally before they can be redeployed again. To them, what they are told, take bread and tea, if you're lucky, or soda, wait for the next demonstration. With your stress levels, you are sent back to the people. Legacy politicians have failed our police service.
Okay. Gloria, what is your assessment?
When we talk about police reform, right now, the reflection now in Kenya, I think now it's a fancy word. Initially, it was to bring transformation and professionality in the system, but now what we are seeing is we are back to them using, as Willis has said, it's back to our force. There's them using force and them using civilians actually to civilians as goons. And the only person who's supposed to use force in a measurable way is the police service. So what we are seeing right now is a deterioration of what it's supposed to be and the unprofessionalism of it all. So I think it's just a fancy term that is used now and then to bring transformation, but I don't think it's happening at the moment.
Okay. Charles, what is your assessment? You've been in this system for quite some time now.
Yeah, quite a lot. Number one, we need to go back to history.
Yeah.
That around 1990-91, during agitation of multi-party democracy, we started seeing agitation for reforms in the police service. And you remember the so-called special branch, which later became the Directorate of Security Intelligence. There was a lot of agitation to detach it from police, the Kenya Police, because that time it was a directorate under the Commissioner of Police. So in 1999, we saw the formation of the current NIS, National Security Intelligence Agency. That was a part of what we call reform within the police service. When we came to, that was after multi-party democracy, after the first and the second elections, because the first was in 92, the second was in 1997. Then it came to 2004, when we had Commissioner Nyaseda and her Deputy Commissioner Kagunda. We came up with a strategic plan, 2004-2008. The strategic plan had about 4 major areas. One, we wanted a single police service. We did not want to have administration police and Kenya Police. We wanted one police service trained in the same way, trained on the same subjects, and then have formations to undertake various duties within the police service. And then we also wanted to have an Inspector General instead of a Commissioner of Police that would bring up all these services together, including the DCI. We also wanted to have a Police Service Commission. Why did we want to have a Police Service Commission? Was for purposes of management of the human resource, the human capital within the police, to manage issues of recruitment, issues of training, issues of promotions, issues of welfare. Equally, we wanted to have a civilian oversight authority to look at, because we had cases where within ourselves, like now the death that took place, you would find it is again the police investigating. So there would be that concern that why would police investigate themselves? So those are some of the major pillars we wanted. Between 2004 and 2007, nothing actually happened. Then there came the post-election violence. So when the post-election violence came in, it became a blessing in disguise, because now we had the Waki inquiry, and then we got in the Kriegler. And we brought in all these items. Unfortunately, they were admitted. And when we came to the Constitution 2010, we got a Police Service Commission. We got a Civilian Oversight Authority, IPOA. We got the Inspector General. The only thing that we did not get was one service. And the reason was the provincial administration had a feeling that they still wanted to have a service to support them. And they really campaigned to ensure that there was relevance to have administration police service and Kenya Police Service. Now, what I can say is that we have had a lot of reform in many other sectors. For example, a lot of the current situation, we have a lot of issues that are digitally related and so on and so forth. Issues of IT, issues of cybercrime, a number of things that government has put in money, the forensic lab, and a lot of trainings that have taken place. The only thing that we only need to look at one area. What is the major source of conflict between police and, we can't say we have not had reforms. We need to be very honest with ourselves and ask what is the major source of conflict of police. And where police and the public are conflicting are political interests by politicians. Whether it is the state, whether it is the opposition, they have interests. And they have put in police in and punching police left, right, center. It's not the police, it's the politicians. Why do I say so?
Even before you say so.
No. Let me.
Charles, so let's take a practical example. Between Boniface Mwangi was shot having a mask in his hand. What was the source of...
I want you to allow me to say our source of conflict is politics. Why do I say so? I say so because the opposition feels there are things which are not right that requires agitation. For example, the death of Ojwang was a very unfortunate and unnecessary death, if you look at it critically, committed by individual police officers. Yeah. And what is most important is to find out is that is fair action taken against these individual police officers. Why do I say we are promoting conflict? If you look at most of the deaths, they are taking place during demonstrations, most of them during demonstrations. But you ask yourself, in these public demonstrations are allowed. You have a right under Article 37 to demonstrate, to picket, to assemble peaceably and unarmed. And every time, if I ask my brother here, Jalego, he will dismiss the Public Order Act. Because why do we need public order? We need public order in the sense that if we are civil, if we want to picket or assemble, it's allowed, but we need to agree. If it is a procession, first of all, we don't need to ask for permission for police. We simply notify police that we will have a demonstration or a procession. And you state that we will be demonstrating from this time to this time. We will be using this route. And our leader will be so and so who is accountable. But now, if you look at what is happening, all this is not done. It is anarchy, if you look at it. You can't even say, I'm going to have demonstrations every Tuesday. It can't work. So what I'm saying is we are promoting conflict. Like now, there are allegations that a certain politician brought in goons to fight with demonstrators. If you look at it, it has nothing to do with police. It's politicians. So what I can say...
We're escorting those goons you're talking about.
You see,
you've just said
you see, every person. I can't justify that. Trevor, I can't justify that because the difference between demonstrators and goons you can't even tell.
But this one was
they're carrying
and you've just said armed. Let me hear what Okey has to say about that. From your assessment, were the goons working with the police?
Absolutely. It was clear the goons were working with police. And it's very interesting that Charles who have the audacity to look at the viewers in the eye and say that, because anybody sane who watched those footages will see that these protesters were working with police. There were police vehicles just driving slowly, like they're in wedding processions, behind them, as they ran amok and terrorized the streets. So I think, and you see Charles is saying with one mouth that these policemen are used by the politicians, but attempts to defend the talk that someone recruited them. While even in the middle, while it is clear that there is admission, there's a political leader who from somewhere was encouraging another one that, look, hire goons, let them work with police. By now, if there was seriousness to deal with this issue, we would be in a situation to be able to see these political leaders held to account. because left unchecked, this thing will go out of hand. Because now the public knows that, okay, police are working with goons. But how many policemen, how many goons? If people were to regroup, we would not have a city to call ours.
But Charles also says that the major source of conflict between police and the public is politics. Do you agree?
I don't agree, because look like this karaoke boy. This boy fell down with masks in his hand. There was no relation between him and any political scene. He was actually off the road, just with his mask. I think according to him, it was a day of selling his masks again to the policemen, because these are the ones who mask themselves. The public had no problem. The people who wanted these masks, the users of the masks, are the ones who went and shot this innocent mask seller. Yeah. So I don't agree that everything about it is political.
Yeah. But he also says that there's some reforms that have been achieved. I mean, they have Inspector General of Police, Police Service Commission that deals with the welfare which you are talking about. But how come it's not showing any results? Or is it just individual culpability?
Charles is justifying expenditure on equipment. Police reforms is wholesome. And he knows, I've been part of that process. Police reform starts with the attitude of a policeman. Leave equipment. I mean, if you have people who are emotionally unstable all over because of one reason to the other, what does it do to buy equipment, to buy forensics? Now we had CCTV there. I watched the minister the other day talk of installing CCTVs in all police stations. There was CCTV in Central, which again, a young technician was procured by the same rogue police system to come and delete footages. So what are we saying?
Okay.
Let me say this. Yeah. The first thing we must say, when we say that police and politicians, what we mean is this. The police have agreed to be taken over by legacy politicians. So that policeman who was shooting poor Boniface, unarmed, not even demonstrating, to him in his eyes, I am doing it to the benefit of my political cause. They are no longer serving the people. They are serving legacy politicians. And we must say it for what it is. When the police are deployed, when there's a demonstration, they are not deployed to maintain law and order. They are deployed to undermine a political cause that the legacy politicians are not comfortable with. They are not happy when Kenyans are agitating for good governance. So the deployment is about go and disrupt them. Go and challenge them, go and stop them. That is why they find comfort. They are at home with armed goons deployed by legacy politicians led by Sakaja to go out to attack. He may deny, but the same Sakaja, we must say the truth. Sakaja in a public forum specifically said, Jaribuni Tuesday mtaona. Mtanipata town. He said it.
That means he went down.
Even those who were deployed, those goons when they were deployed, we saw them outside City Hall shouting Igwe, saying Sakaja tumefanya kazi. So he must take ownership. We cannot have legacy politicians saying this today and they do the opposite tomorrow and then they deny when it's not politically convenient. We must call it for what it is. And we must go down even to why are we here. We should never lose focus of the situation why we are here today. We are here today because IDIG decided to lodge a complaint against Albert Ojwang. And when Albert Ojwang was arrested in Homa Bay, driven over 300 kilometers to Nairobi, taken to a police cell to be punished, to be disciplined, that led to his death. By the time someone is being apprehended on the authority of top police establishment, tortured inside a police station until he dies, then the problem cannot be solved by saying we've had reforms by buying equipment, as Okeyo says, that we now have CCTV, we now have more body armor. You've actually only done this. You've now equipped that rogue militia with modern weapons and technology that they can use to brutalize the people of Kenya. So if we are to talk about reforms, in my view, the first reform should start from this. Article 239 of the Constitution is very clear. Police must be subordinate to civilian authority. Let's go to Central Police Station, scene of crime. If you go to Central Police Station today, Is it subordinate to civilian authority? Any civilian who appears at Central Police Station today is treated as an enemy. You'll be shouted at, you'll be deranged, you'll be undermined. You actually feel that you're walking into a cell. What should we do? I'm a solutions guy. If you are genuine about police reforms, we must actualize Article 239. How do we do it? Why is there no civilian local committee for every police station in this country, where we say every police station, the locality, the people who live in that, served by that police station, must elect amongst their own membership a committee that oversights that particular police station. And they have a right to enter into the police station, to inspect the OB, to inspect the cells, and to ask questions. Why is this inmate, remandee, not been taken to hospital if he is hurt? Why has he not been admitted to cash bail if the offense is one that is not serious, that will warrant issuance of police cash bail? When you deploy police officers, this committee should be able to walk into the police station and ask, give us the record of the guns which were issued to the officers. Give us the returns of how those guns were used. If there was a bullet that was fired, to whom was it fired? Who fired it? Was there injury? Is it recorded? In what circumstances? So we talk about reforms whose ultimate objective should be about upholding the rights of the citizens, not reforms to equip the police with more deadly weapons to hurt their own citizens.
Okay. Gloria, what sort of reforms do you think need to be implemented from here on? Because we've had working groups, a lot of them, but somehow there's still a problem in the police service.
First, I think I would like to respond to something Charles had said before maybe we get to that question, where he was talking about the politicization of this thing. We have to remember first why we are here. We are here because there was police brutality. That is what led to the killing of Ojwang. And because of that, people went to the streets. Citizens of this country went to the streets to demonstrate against it. And it's not the politicians who called for it. How it turned to be political was when now the police and the executive, this we can say, used the police, and now and from the statements we got also from Sakaja and also from the MCA of, is it Korogosho?
Korogosho.
Yes. And they were the ones saying that this will not happen in the city. And I think where we talk about politics coming in play was the police being used by the politicians to actually use force on the people, which is very much illegal. So how do we bring reforms and actually the community and police reforms with the community? I think one of them is the classic one. Willis has said civilians have to be involved. And I think it's a very good thing, civilians being involved. And going back to the days of barazas, now holding community engagements with the police and civilians coming to say this has been happening actually within this environment, and the police have not been doing something. And it also creates, you see, once people talk, they say a problem shared is half solved. You get to also understand from their end. But in this situation, there's no engagement at all with the police. So I think we need to start seeing and things actually being implemented where police actually have an engagement with the community.
I have to take a quick commercial break. Charles, I'll come with you. There's a conversation that you need to respond to your fellow panelists in just a bit. When you come back, you're the one who will go first. But let's take a quick break. Keep your views coming as well. At Trevor Mbidi at Citizen TV Kenya, use the hashtag Daybreak. We're talking about police reforms. What more needs to be done? In the next hour, you're only talking about solutions now. So what more needs to be done? Where do we start? What is the next step? That coming up in just a bit.